Buddy, it's Drew Detzner with 3D Wellness. Thank you for being here. It's Wednesday, it's 7 o'clock. That means it's time for our Wednesday weekly workshop where you get to ask Drew anything. For those of you keeping track at home, this is the 89th time we've done an Ask Drew Anything workshop. That's kind of nuts to think about. We're 11 away from triple digits. Totally wild. Nice. If it's your first time being here for one of these, I'm Drew Detzner. I'm the owner of 3D Wellness. I'm one of the clinicians here where we help people heal safely and naturally. I'm joined by the incomparable Two Boots, Lori LeClaire.
Here I am.
She is checking the chat. So what you get to do during these workshops, if you're online, is whether it's Instagram or it's YouTube, you can chat in questions and get answers from me, a certified nutritional counselor with more than 15 years of clinical experience in real time. And if you don't want to chat in your questions, but you still want to ask them, you can email us ahead of time. Here's our email. Or you can call in while we're doing the workshop. We will be more than happy to answer the phone because whether or not the phone rings, we have to pay the phone bill. So the phone might as well ring. We always start while the questions roll in. What did we do in clinic this week? The first one I want to go over is some food poisoning. So that can come up for a lot of different reasons. It can happen locally. It can happen when you're traveling. The combo that I have historically used, all standard process supplements, all available in the descriptions of our videos on YouTube and on our website. Zypan, our dearly beloved Spanish black radish, and if it's really bad, we're going to add in GI Adsorb. And I wanted to talk about GI Adsorb a little bit, so we'll jump into that after I go through the rest of this list. We worked on tight throat, and what I did was I drew an intersection right here because so often we get symptoms in this part of our body that have everything to do with our digestive tract below. So if you or someone you know has been dealing with tight throat, apparently one of the solutions they offer is to stretch your throat with a balloon. That just feels extreme to me. Often when something's happening here, it's something going on down here. If you know someone that's dealing with that, have them reach out to me. We can at least talk about it. Or if you want me to talk about it tonight, just chat it up. Support during treatment. So I have to be careful how I word this. I offer no cure for cancer as I am not a medical doctor, nor do I work in oncology. But what I am pretty darn good at is supporting the human body while it goes through treatments for cancer without interfering with the treatments themselves. The person going through cancer treatments is not just someone receiving cancer treatments. They're still a person. They still have a body. It still needs support. Anxiety, a bunch of times. Yeah, a lot of reasons to be anxious about stuff. A lot of things to do so you're not anxious about stuff. That's what we were talking about. And then immune challenges, and I wrote ×3. In the last 2 months around here, we've seen 3 very distinct immune challenges that a lot of people have come in with. One is affecting the lower GI. So people are having trouble with some bowels. They're feeling really run down, getting dehydrated. The second infection that we've seen very consistently around here is an upper GI thing. Came with nausea, came with vomiting, came with lack of appetite. And the third thing is whatever this respiratory thing that's been floating around lately, and it has tended to ebb and flow where people feel like they're getting better and then a few days later they kind of crash again. That repeats 3 times from what we're seeing for the most part. So that stuff's floating around out there. Please remember, we have handouts on how to support your immune system that are free. If you want a copy of it, like so many others have gotten, just shoot us an email. We are more than happy to share that info with you. The only thing I ask, I put my logo all over it. Oh, could you grab one of the Clippies?
Yeah.
Thank you. I put my logo on the handout. If you're sharing it with other people, please give credit where it's due. In case you were wondering, our logo looks like this. You probably already knew that, but I'm really happy about this. Little magnet on the back, little Clippy action, so that people can put their supplement schedules up on their fridges. If you come in for a consult right now, we're just giving them away to people. I think they turned out really well.
They're very cool.
Yeah. All right, so I want to talk about GI adsorb because not nearly enough people know about GI adsorb. All right, some of you may be saying, Drew, you spelled the word wrong. All right, no, it is not absorb. It is adsorb. Okay? So adsorb. So something that is adsorbent, it can hold things on the exterior. So imagine you have a sponge. Here's your sponge. Sponges have holes in them. If this is what your cheese looks like, your cheese is old. Don't eat cheese that looks like that. And if you have a bucket of water, here's the bucket. Splishy, splashy water, okay? If you dunk an adsorbent sponge into a bucket of water, not only will the sponge fill up with some water, like all sponges do, but an adsorbent material can also hold water on its exterior. Okay? The reason that this is so important to understand is when we're dealing with food poisoning, and one of those symptoms is that we have too much liquid in our bowel, and our bowel is loosening up or we're getting diarrhea. What's in GI adsorb has the ability, if it even just bumps into that excess water, it'll bump into it and it'll cling to it and hold it on its exterior and help it get carried out of the body. So in cases of things like diarrhea, we use adsorbent materials like the ones in GI adsorb because it can hold water on the exterior even if it just bumps into it. Pretty powerful tool. Now, we don't use a ton of it because for the most part our clients are already on Spanish black radish, so their bowels tend to be really healthy. But in cases of food poisoning, sometimes even our beloved Spanish black radish is not enough. That's where GI adsorb comes in. Mm-hmm. All right, Two Boots, any questions rolling in?
I do not see any questions right now
okay.
that have rolled in, but I have a fun one.
Ooh.
It's very simple.
Okay.
Just something that popped into my head the other day when I was at the grocer.
Sounds good.
Trying to decide what beets to buy. And I said, I wonder what the difference is between a red and a golden beet.
Wonderful.
Take it away.
We're talking about beets. All right. In nature, foods, naturally colored foods, so Kool-Aid doesn't count. So anything that's been dyed doesn't count. Okay. In nature, the color of the foods are very indicative of what nutrients are within them. The best example is this delicious kiwi that Lori was chopping up for us earlier. Mm-hmm. This kiwi is naturally green and white. The green indicates that there is chlorophyll in there. And where there is chlorophyll, maybe you remember that from biology classes in high school or college, where there is chlorophyll, there are also nutrients, certain nutrients we expect to see like vitamin A, vitamin E. Where we see white naturally occurring in plants, we expect to see vitamin C, or at least part of vitamin C inside of that also. Okay?
Do you know they make golden kiwis too?
Yes, there are golden kiwis. They're in my house right now, and they are also delicious.
Oh.
Yeah. All right, so the different colors indicate different nutrients within there. Typically, where you see red in nature, you're going to find more B vitamins than the equivalent other nutrients, okay? In things that are yellow, orange, or golden, you're going to find things that are more anti-inflammatory naturally. There's only one M inflammatory, isn't there?
There's two.
There's two? Okay, thank you. Just getting my misspelled words out of the way early on.
Two. I gave it two, so must be right.
Has to be then. Foods that are yellow and orange, naturally more anti-inflammatory action to them. Okay. What both of them have is they promote nitric oxide in the body. Why do we care about that? Nitric oxide helps us dilate or open up our blood vessels to make it easier for blood to flow through those vessels. It can help things like blood pressure issues. It can help things like cold extremities and limbs. It is also pretty impactful when it comes to physical exercise, because the better the blood flow is through our muscles, the easier it is for our muscles to acutely recover, and then also long-term, like the day after, 2 days after the workout, recover. The other big thing about all the types of beets is they have lots of liver love inside of them. Beets naturally contain a long list of nutrients, regardless of color, that benefit the way your liver produces bile. And that wonderful little substance helps us digest our fats. It helps lubricate our intestines. So bile is often an overlooked thing because it helps us digest fats on the topics of dry skin, ADHD, and heart health. And because it lubricates the bowel, it obviously gets overlooked often on the topic of constipation. So one of my favorite things to do for my clients when they come in constipated is ask them about their beet intake regardless of color. It can be the red ones, it can be the oxblood ones, it can be the golden ones. And if they aren't eating beets on a regular basis, I encourage them to incorporate that for the sake of getting that bile production really going, so we can lubricate those intestines and make it easier for our waste to move through us. So there are small differences in foods depending upon their color. For the most part, like with peppers, I think of, green, yellow, orange, red, there's going to be some things they all have in common. And then a few things that make them different. So like a green pepper is richer in chlorophyll, which means it's going to have more vitamin A and E, compared to a red pepper, which is going to have more of the B vites, compared to the yellow pepper, which is going to have more of the anti-inflammatory thing. See that?
Yeah. Nice.
That's a good question. Either way, eat beets. Like whatever. I think golden beets have a little less beet flavor to them.
Okay.
So for some people, they're a good like novice beet. Did I just say novice beet?
Yeah, you did.
That and other phrases I didn't expect to say today. Tonight at 7.
Well, I discovered a yummy combination of the golden beets and some cauliflower that I steamed.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so yummy.
Right on.
Yeah.
All right. No questions rolling in?
Nope.
Oh, don't make my job that easy. We stay here talking until there aren't any questions. And that's okay if there aren't questions tonight. At least locally, we just got over a pretty good cold snap. So I wonder how many people are making up for whatever they were supposed to be doing when it was cold out. It's a very real thing.
Well, I've got a question since you mentioned constipation several times this evening. I have a constipation question.
Sure.
Different remedies, I imagine, for constipation. I've heard of gastrofiber by standard process.
Yep.
Magnesium is commonly used for that. And now we know beets is good for that as well.
Beets is good too.
What is in gastrofiber that makes that a good constipation remedy versus a magnesium product, I guess?
Sure. Would you grab a gastrofiber and we'll really jump into it? All right. Let's talk gastrofiber. All right, so as the name implies, it's a fiber supplement. It's made by standard process. Here's what it looks like. And it's capsules in there. So real quick thing, standard process has 2 different fiber products. And one of them is a powder that's mostly oat bran with a little bit of beet pulp in it. That's called whole food fiber. This one is a capsule. A lot of my clients prefer to take stuff in capsules because they can just throw it in their pill box. They don't have to be having a smoothie or a nutritional drink or something like that with the powder. Okay. So gastrofiber, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different ingredients. So capsule, 5 ingredients. And I appreciate that because one of the ingredients is psyllium. Are there 2 L's in that bad boy? Yeah, there are. Is psyllium husk. And this is what's known as a bulking fiber. So that means I have all these color markers, Lori, and I almost didn't use them. All these markers. By the way, we're probably going to have to make an annual thing that I get some fresh markers.
I think so,
Okay.
the way you like to write.
And I mean, yeah.
And play.
100%. So bulking fiber means that if this is the bulking fiber and it's this big, okay, it's taking up that much space. If you add water to that, what's going to happen is it's going to expand or bulk up. The reason that's nice is because when that product is passing through our intestines, it goes in a relatively small size and then it expands. And think of it like a person walking through a crowd like this. They're going to bump into a lot more people. So that bulking fiber is going to bump into a lot more stuff that's stuck in the intestines. That makes sense?
Yeah.
What can happen for a lot of people, all the colors. Our intestines aren't just straight tubes. They got lots of nooks and crannies to them. So what can happen for a lot of people all right, so that's a pass through your intestines. And that's a pretty gross estimate of what it looks like, but it'll do. What can happen is stuff can get stuck in these spots where most of the action isn't taking place. For the most part, when food is moving through our intestines, it is just going through the path of least resistance. So it's not necessarily going into these little pockets that we have formed there. So what's nice about a bulking fiber is when it's passing through, it's flaring itself out and it's starting to rub into those little pockets right there, like the person in the crowd walking around like this. Now that you're in love with bulking fiber and the way it can clean your intestines, there's a problem with it.
What's that?
A lot of people, the speed of their intestines isn't at a good tempo. Things don't move through the right way. So the bulking fibers can actually get hung up in those pockets also. And they can worsen the situation. So when you're at the grocery store, grab one of those fiber products in that aisle. There's a lot of name brands. I'm not going to throw shade at anybody. I'm just going to tell you to use gastrofiber instead. But flip it over and look at how the ingredients are commonly just psyllium husk. And that's a problem right there. The way that gastrofiber fixes that is gastrofiber also has phenyl and fenugreek in it, which are really important to lubricate the bowel. That means it's, the psyllium is less likely to get hung up in the corners and that kind of thing. Gastrofiber also has apple in it, which is a really good fiber. Not a bulking fiber, just a good fiber that's easy to take and unlikely to cause any kind of food intolerance response. And then it's got a little piece of magic in it. The 5th ingredient is Collinsonia root. And I always want to spell it wrong. I'm going to spell it right this time. Collinsonia root. It's also known as stone root. And this is vascular support. And another way to say that is that it is an anti-hemorrhoid. I always like to call hemorrhoids hemis. Not taking shots at anybody who drives a Dodge with a Hemi in it. So what's really great about gastrofiber, it has this psyllium husk that does this bulking fiber thing, which can be good if we avoid things getting hung up in the corners, which we do with gastrofiber because we have two ingredients that lubricate, and we're making sure that as we're moving our bowels potentially correctly for the first time in a long time, that we're not irritating or creating hemorrhoids because we're using nutrients that are helping us get ahead of hemorrhoids. It's safe for kiddos. I've used it with clients as young as 2 years old because it mixes pretty easily into stuff when you open up the capsule. And then I've used it with clients all the way into their 90s before. It's really effective. There's one more thing I want to point out here as I'm looking at my drawing. When you knock the stuff out of the corners here, there are muscles on the outside of our intestines that help contract them. Think of it like squeezing a tube of toothpaste. It's kind of like the action of your intestines here to move stuff through and then out of you. When we knock out this stuff in the corners, we get a better flex in the intestines, and that can actually help us have an easier time moving our bowels. That means we're less likely to accumulate this stuff in the future. It's really good for our gut, for our intestines to be just as flexible as possible. And that's where gastrofiber comes in.
Yeah.
So this is part of the purification program that Lori and I just did last month. We're taking a group of people through the purification program in March. There's no official start date. What I'll tell you is anybody doing the purification program with us in March, there's a party at the end of March that everybody's invited to, and we're doing a bunch of giveaways and that kind of stuff for anybody who's doing the purification program. So you have about 2 weeks minimum to plan ahead and decide to do that. If you want info on that, reach out to us. We're here to help you. Gastrofiber is one of the options for that. It's my preference for doing the purification program. And even though I'm done with the purification program, I still pop 3 capsules of this in the morning right away, and my tummy loves it. That's gastrofiber.
Okay.
Answer your question?
Half of it.
Oh, yes, the other half.
Was how is that different from like a magnesium? Is magnesium just a stool softener type of a?
That's the best way to say. There's a tricky thing, so let's talk about it. So, all right, I'm going to take this down.
I think we need to get rid of the green marker. I think it's starting to.
Oh man,
see its last.
Is it losing?
Writings, yeah.
It's fare thee well.
We'll get you another
You've
one.
always been good, Verde. Always liked having you here.
So long, farewell.
There you go. Maybe they have a forest green marker.
Ah.
Nice dark one. All right, so magnesium in the bowel. Sounds like a terrible crime-fighting duo. If those are the heroes in my city, I'm going to move to a new city. Okay, so magnesium has long been known as a stool softener. And that's true with some forms of magnesium. We got to remember that there are multiple forms of magnesium out there.
That's right.
Let's throw a bunch of them out there just so we understand what we're talking about. There's magnesium lactate. There's magnesium taurinate. There's magnesium glycinate. There's magnesium threonate.
Oh, haven't heard of that one.
That's the form that's in Easy Mag.
Oh, okay.
It's also all the rave right now on social media.
Okay.
Because people are starting to wake up to the idea that if your supplements are made out of good foods, they work better. Where have we heard that before? Feel like we've heard that before. It'll come to me. But the one I want to focus on is the least popular of all. There are other forms also. It's not just these forms because there's citrate, carbonate. There's a bunch of forms. But I want to focus on oxide because oxide, magnesium oxide, promotes water in the bowel. It pulls it right in there. So what happens? You are constipated, your feces is pressing on itself, it's becoming compacted and therefore harder to move. Magnesium oxide puts water in there, and that can start to loosen all that stuff up. The problem for most people is that it loosens things up just enough to move out some of what's in there, but not everything that's in there. The fiber goes through and rubs on the walls, okay? The magnesium is just promoting water in the bowel for a flushing effect. It may not flush the walls. You remember that little pocket?
Mm-hmm.
It may not get all the way into that little pocket
Yeah.
in the flushing. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Where the fiber is trying to, because the fiber is bulking,
Mm-hmm.
the magnesium is just putting water through there, and the water just may zip right through until it got to the blockage, and then it would soften that up and get that to move. But that didn't clean that, or that, or that, right? These little pockets, you see that? I love magnesium. All of our clients get magnesium in some form or another, usually from Mintran, but also from Easy Mag, or magnesium lactate or glycinate. But for bowel health, it's more like the, oh no, I got really backed up and I need to flush everything out before I start to fix this. That's when I would use high doses of magnesium that promote water in the bowel.
Oh, sure.
For just bowel health, I'd rather do something like gastrofiber.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah, thanks.
And then produce. This is a big deal for me. This is stuff that I wish more people thought about. On the topic of produce, pound for pound, most produce, so most fruits and veggies, have less fiber than grain products like a whole wheat bread. But a whole wheat bread is a dry fiber, whereas your fruits and veggies are a wet fiber. And if you put moisture into the bowel, it is easier to move the bowel. So I'm constantly telling clients, instead of trying to meet these FDA guidelines of, I think it's 25 to 35 grams of fiber a day, a lot of people don't need that much fiber when they get the bulk of their fiber, when they get the bulk of their fiber from wet fiber sources like fruits and veggies. I hope that idea makes sense.
Yeah.
Compared
sure
to the
does.
breads, pastas, and that stuff, they can be
Yeah.
rich in fiber. The Nutri-Grain bars, the fiber comes from the grain, not the almost fruit filling inside of it. But those are all dry. Have you seen the ingredient list? Sorry, Lori's laughing at my almost fruit filling about Nutri-Grains. Just look at the ingredient list. I rest my case. Strawberries are in there somewhere. It's a little too far down for me personally. But those dry fiber foods tend to be less effective than a wet fiber food like fruits and veggies. Was that the second half of your question?
Yeah, good info. Thank you.
Yes.
It is a quiet night here on the chat.
That happens. It was a full day today here in clinic.
That's for sure.
Maybe we just sent out all the vibes into the universe. The universe was like, hey, take it easy tonight. Could be a thing. Anybody asking questions?
Oh.
All right. A little bit of housekeeping. We have a new video series that is up and running. Have you heard the word about MediHerb? So a lot of you on here ask questions about different supplement strategies. We teach at least one workshop a month here dedicated just to supplement strategies. And a lot of those supplement strategies revolve around the MediHerb line. So what we're doing, at least 3 times a week, there will be a YouTube short posted about a MediHerb supplement so you can learn it better. So far we have Adrenal Complex, we're going alphabetically, and Allergico. What comes after that? Andrographis. Andrographis comes out in 2 days. That's a really good one to know for acute immune needs. But that video series is up and running. It's alongside the ABC of SP. So if you're ever looking for information on standard process supplements, on my YouTube channel, DDD Wellness, there's a playlist called the ABCs of SP. It has 154 videos in it where I cover the standard process line so you can understand those supplements. So if you ever hear me talk about Fengray or Allerplex or Spanish black radish or Zypan, and you want more info on that, in just a minute, you can watch the video on that and get more info from it. Yeah. The contest winner from when we hit that 1,000 views on the video, CN got in touch with us, so we're setting up his consult. Very excited about that.
Yes, yes.
And then we're going to be doing something in the office that I want to show you. Lori, if you'd be so kind. Both sizes of Spanish black radish, a big Drenamin, and a big Mintran, please. I'm excited about this one.
Okay, here we go.
All right, Spanish black radish. If you've been watching the channel for any length of time, thank you, Lori. You know I love Spanish black radish. And Spanish black radish from Standard Process comes in this adorable 30 tablet size bottle. Okay, and the tablets in here are a very specific shape. Spanish black radish also comes in this 90 count bottle size. And it might not look it, but it's 3 times the size. And that's better. Because we want Spanish black radish. We want a lot of it. The tablet size in both these bottles is the same, and it's actually the same as these size bottles. Let me give you a scale comparison. Okay? Same shaped tablets, same size tablets as Spanish black radish in both of these bottles. This one can fit 270 tablets in it. This one can fit 360 tablets in it, okay? Here's the point I'm trying to make, and I'm talking to Standard Process right now. And I don't know who at Standard Process is in charge of this, but I really want you to share this video with Standard Process if you get a chance. Or if you know somebody at Standard Process, share it with them. I'm petitioning Standard Process. The cute Spanish black radish bottle is cute. Doesn't do a lot for us. The 90 count bottle size is good. But I really want Spanish black radish in one of the big boy sizes.
Amen.
So during the month of March, when you come into the office and you buy anything, you come in for a consult, you come in for a free clip, like whatever. Here's an SP Power Mix tub. There's powder in here. There was powder in here. It's empty now. I'm going to fill up this tub with Spanish black radish tablets. And I'm going to count how many it takes to fill it. Because I'm sure it's going to be more than either of these 2 bottles. Okay? And you're going to fill out a raffle ticket with your guess as to how many Spanish black radish tablets it takes to fill up a Standard Process tub this size. And everybody who guesses the correct amount will get a free bottle of Spanish black radish from me. At the end of March, well, I guess it would be the first Wednesday weekly in April.
Okay.
We'll announce the winners, and we'll figure out a way to get everybody their Spanish black radish. Spanish black radish needs to come in a bigger container. And making a container this big full of it is kind of ridiculous, and that's what I'm here for. So when you come in the month of March around 3D Wellness, make sure you say that you want to fill out a raffle ticket for how much Spanish black radish fits in this size container.
Okay.
All right, 2 Boots, did any questions roll in?
No, sir.
No?
No.
Okay. People are going to watch this after the fact, which is great. Don't have to have live viewers. People are still going to watch it.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching.
Yeah.
I'm going to go enjoy some kiwi.
Shout out to Josiah.
Yeah?
You tuned in. Thanks,
Thank you, Josiah. We'll see you next Wednesday, where you can ask Drew anything.